Hello, my friends. So, I'm bad with technology, so forgive me for this setup. Anyway, I wanted to talk today about the food, the macronutrients. I spiffed myself up. I hope you like it. Anyway, food. We can't live without it. So food comes from proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. And we can go forever into the carnivores versus vegans wars, but I think it is all very, very political, because we have to accept our nature, and we have to accept that we rely on the sources of proteins from the outside world. And no matter how much they want to tell you that all essential amino acids can be contrived from the plant sources, yes, they can, if they will be processed. They will be enhanced. Certain amino acids would be shuffled around into the perfect ratio, yes. So hooray to the food industries, because all the microbes in insects will be very hard working on your behalf, producing the proteins you so need. Why? No, chemistry is good. For whom? For the humongous population of the humanity. Don't worry. The elites will be eating the caviar and Wagyu beef, no matter what, or good lamb or pork chop or whatever. But you, my friends, you will be convinced that you have to go on a clean diet. You have to purify yourself to the higher vibration and eat only clean sources without any sufferings. Yeah. Now, politics, it's a political game. And it plays into Yuval Harari, Schwab, and all other great research transhumanism. Will make society of the humans into the castes, and every caste will be divided, but what they can eat, what they cannot eat. One will be pure, another will be not. Or they will go to the hierarchy of the castes, and it will be wonderful. There will be people who live long and the people who live short lifespan. Yeah, but they will be convinced that they're pure. Okay, I don't want to talk. I really think that it's my opinion. I don't want to force anyone. You can become a happy customer of the chemistry industry. Make microbes, fungi, and the insects very happy by consuming their production. So another point that I wanted to make is that have you ever thought why humanity evolved in such short period of time? We evolved like in 2.5, 3 million years. Look at the dinosaurs. It took them 100 million of years to evolve into the multiplicity of the forms. And what us, humans? 2.5 million years, hop, slop, and we are sapiens. We're supposed to be thinking, cognition should be high. What happened? No, according to my favorite professor, Savelyev, once upon a time there was a world of paradise somewhere in Eastern Africa. The rivers were beaming with all kinds of shrimp, fish, caviar, you name it, everything was in abundance. All these fat, high, rich protein foods were just grab it and munch it up. So we lost our super huge jaws. Our jaws and the teeth became what they are now. We are not very good crunchers. And we became bipedals because you need hands to get out all that goodies from the rivers and streams. From there on, we decided that we can share, we can be in the group together, because you don't need to compete for food. All the competition was just sexual competition, so who is the handsomest of them all. Anyway, that was continuing for some quite time, and then, after then, the climate changed. Oopsie-doo, climate changes on this planet. And we were forced to go to savanna. We were forced to protect ourselves and to get our food from whatever was available. And to walk in the savanna is not as easy. Walking upright, you are a pure target for all those lions and hyenas and you name them. So part of those group went back to the trees. And you can look at them now, they are happy chimps and gorillas. They are really happy. They went back to the mountains and to the trees. But part of them decided to use their frontal lobes and become a team. They started working together, and from there on, one after another, we developed frontal lobes to subdue our aggression, and we got to where we are now. So that's a nice story. I often think that there is another guy, Alexander Belyaev. He is against the evolution. He thinks that we are from the aliens. And we involved 100 times because every time group of aliens would come and involved into all this multiplicity of the animals. And then another came 50,000 years ago, and we are gradually evolving from that one. No, frankly, I think it is evolution or involution. It's one and the same, and all relies on food. Why have we evolved so fast first time? Maybe there was not enough good food on Earth. I don't know. Anyway, so far I'm sticking with my favorite professor, Savelyev. Let's go on. The sources of foods are, of course, milk, meat, plants, and all the foods could be divided simply to proteins, fats, and carbs. Proteins, what do we need it for? We cannot live without it. It's structure of our cells. It's a synthesis of everything in our cells synthesized from the proteins. 80% of our mammal cell, we are mammals, we are animals, so made from the proteins. 80% pure protein. So muscle brain synapses, the ones that formed every moment, the ones that destroyed, formed again, everything. Neurotransmitters, those are also essential, and they are all proteins. To neurotransmitters you can add all the enzymes. Transport of every nutrition in our body, every enzyme, every hormone, all of it attached to the proteins. The proteins make transportation available to our body. And of course, immunity. all the immunoglobulins, globulin, it is a protein, so all they are proteins. All the receptors who would respond to those also made of the protein. So you can't live without the protein. Protein can come from the animal and can come from the plant. No, plants, I think only hemp seed contains all 8 essential amino acids, but then the proportion of those, the ratio of those amino acids is not very balanced for our consumption. Therefore, animal protein is the best balanced in a ratio for our consumption. The problem is that with age, our enzymes do not work as well to converting essential amino acids into non-essential amino acids. And as a result, we will require all 20 amino acids, plus our gastrointestinal tract works as a conveyor. We load it up, and at any particular moment, if your muscle or your brain or anything in your body needs particular amino acid, it will take what's available. Of course, liver can synthesize it sometimes in the future, but if it's not synthesized right now, at that moment, that amino acid will be substituted. So I can congratulate you if it is substituted with the correct one, but if it's substituted with something that is just usable, you have a deficiency in your mechanical structure, in your bone, in your muscle, in whatever else it's used for. So therefore, it's one more argument to use complete protein sources. And complete protein sources are animal, milk, whey protein, and eggs or caviar, fish eggs. And so, but because the transportation also done by the proteins, and those particular amino acids for the transporting proteins are better present in the plant source. That's why we need 50% coming from the plant source, from meat about 20%, and from milk about 30%, plus minus. Why milk is so important? No, milk is the main reason. It's a mutagenic factor. It produces mucus. And all our inner lining in the intestines, in the lungs, even in the nasal passages, all have the villi, those little things that have to move, and they move in the cloud of mucus. Without this mucus, they won't be functioning well. If they don't function well, the peristalsis, the removing of the foreign dust and bodies that we accidentally inhale in our nose, in our trachea, and so on, would be very difficult. So then, best for that is milk protein. And you would say, oh no, there are so many people who are lactose intolerant. No, first of all, lactose is sugar. Second of all, lactate is formed no matter what in your body. So are you allergic to yourself? Then if you were allergic to milk, how did you survive your infancy? Yes, if you don't use particular enzymes, the efficacy falls down. So, therefore, if you have not drunk milk have not been drinking it for a very long time, yeah, you may be suffering. You can suffer. But at the same applies to everything. If you don't use it, you lose it. But in the principle, people who had allergic reactions to milk, they would not survive. Oops, babies without milk do not survive. Formula is milk. But now we can produce, welcome your food chemistry industry. They can give you pure whey protein without any additions of any allergic substances. So that's about the proteins. And as you see, I advocate the balanced ratio of meat, plant, and milk protein. It is only for your own critical thinking, because if you want to be spiritually pure and feel superior to the rest of the humanity, please, please, become a customer of the chemistry industry called food. Fats, this should have up to a quarter of our energy. Now everybody is talking about ketogenic diet. No, we use ketones when we don't have oxygen much. That's the rule. The most use of the ketones by the growing brain is in the womb. So the little fetus uses ketones. As soon as you can breathe, you automatically, your body will require and prefer carbohydrates to the fats as a source of energy. And certain organs in your body, like liver, cannot exist without sugars, and certain parts of your brain cannot exist without sugar, but certain parts can. So you can be half pregnant. Your brain does not need sugar. Okay. But half of it needs. But whatever, be a happy ketogenic diet. Real happy. Why? Because the byproducts of the ketones is guanosine. It's an antidepressant. Congratulations! You automatically happy. Happy, lazy brains. Big, fat, happy, lazy brains produced on ketogenic diet. Why? Because really thinking requires acute mobilization of the stimulation of all the channels and synapses, and it requires a lot of energy, and that will require glucose. No, thankfully, brain does not need much, and whatever proteins you'll have, they will be easily converted to the glucose through the gluconeogenesis in the liver. Liver can't forget itself and can't forget the brain. So in no any circumstances, I advocate spoonfuls of sugar. I advocate slow carbohydrates with slow release, because usually it's a plant source. It has all other nutrients that usually plants give us. So fats make membranes. And guess what? The animal fat makes the most of the membranes. It makes membranes not only every cell, brain, lungs, every cell of the body, double layer of the fat, double layer of the cholesterol. Cholesterol gives it structure. So in lungs, all the fats go through the lymphatic system. First thing where they come, lungs is lungs. It's the first thing they would come to. Why that is so important? Because lungs cannot open. They have to be constantly coated in the surfactant fluid. And surfactant, 90+%, is animal sourced. I talked about the whales, how they saved the babies in Japan, because that's how they got the surfactant. And the babies were so sick because their mothers did not have enough animal fat in their diet. When you think about the secret of longevity of Okinawa, what would you think about? You'll think about sweet potatoes, seaweed? Nope, it's pork. The pork is a secret to longevity in Okinawa. So, hello, my dear vegans. Other fats are also hormones. So energy detoxification is another very important issue because 80% of the toxins that are produced in the body are removed with water. The main source of the toxins in the body, of course, there are environmental and etc., but unfortunately, protein is the main source of the toxicity to our own body, and we need to remove it. 80% removed through the kidney with water, and 20% is going to be removed through the biliary system, and you go number 2. So it's a 20% you need fats. The more proteins you eat, the more fats you need, and the main source of the detoxification, removing the toxins from the body, is plant. Why? Because they are unsaturated. What does it mean? That they can be saturated. They can get extra something and remove it. That's why all those seeds, nuts, especially nuts, the best fat profile, I think, has hazelnut, but maybe some other nuts. So, of course, olive oil, anything you can think of. Also, the plant, those unsaturated, they give you stabilization of the membranes and give you support for the eye function. All the lutein and the many other carotenoids, that's plant source. But for its absorption, you need animal source. You need butter that's rich with vitamin A. So it's all in balance. We cannot omit one thing to another. Animal source, of course, is the choline, cholesterol. Without choline, your brain won't function, just won't. I wonder if this low-fat diet was a source of the rise in autism. You know, that the idiotism of the medical association removing the animal fat out of your diet, maybe it's just mind-boggling, you know, how they did it. And sometimes I wonder, is it how they think? Because all this cholesterol myth came to be from the technician in the pathology department who was watching the doctor doing autopsy, and every time he would do the autopsy, he would say cholesterol plaque, atherosclerosis, cholesterol. And the smart technician wrote a little brochure. Cholesterol is the reason for heart attack. No, I'm sorry. If you have a cut and blood flowing out, is the blood reason for your cut? No, must be. In the mind of the technician, I wouldn't be surprised. But it became a bestseller. It was taken on by all the chemistry, food departments, and they started happily removing fat from everything. And of course, you have to lose weight, and you have to be nice and skinny, and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it's really mind-boggling. It's like now you can read, eat this, it will save you from dementia. Or eat this, you'll lose your weight. Okay, third year of the med school. Third year, not of med school, the undergrad, not the med school, whatever. So carbs, energy, production. If you ever want to run fast, you need glycogen, if you want to run away from the tiger. But of course, nowadays, all you do is thumb twiddle or computer typing, and you sit on a couch, keep happily ever after. So you don't run away from the tigers unless you make yourself run in the morning. So you can be without the carbs, just a little bit, just itsy bitsy for the brain and your own liver. And by the way, kidneys too, they also rely on the glucose. But it has a very excellent source. Glucose with oxygen produces 36 molecules of adenosine triphosphate, and of course everything else just CO2. And without the oxygen, it produces only 6 molecules of adenosine triphosphate. And what does it mean? That you gobble up your donuts, but you don't breathe well because you don't have enough surfactant. Your lungs cannot absorb all the oxygen, the membrane's permeability does not allow well exchange of the gases, and you are fatigued. Its body is sore, it produces lactate, pyruvate, and you name it, and you just soar all over, you go to chronic fatigue syndrome and all other syndromes. I don't want to go to the clinical picture. There are plenty of doctors who will be happily explaining it to you. What is all the cause for it? No, maybe not enough surfactant. But the problem is when you live in that status, it's that state of hypoxia, and all your body is jumped up and like stuffed with the lactate, pyruvate. It's each muscle contains it, everything. And then you start eating well, exercises right, and the lactate becomes active for removing. And what is it? It's acid. It's acid. It hurts. You are in absolute agony and pain. And you say, oh no, it's bad for me. I am in such pain. I should go back to eating my donuts. Whatever floats your boat. Whatever. So treatment for that is animal fat. Because why animal fat? Because it has be in the lungs to deliver the oxygen. You know, like a bellows. You have to open them. You have to breathe in. So, of course, it's a probiotics for the carbohydrates, because all the plants contain cellulose, and cellulose is essential for the feeding of our microbiota in our intestines. No matter what you say, if you suck on a nipple, you'll get your lactobacillus and bifida into your system. The smarty pants American doctors once upon a time decided that the nipples have to be clean, super clean. So they were making women clean their nipples. As a result, the babies stopped sucking their breast. And what? No, of course, here the food and drug industry and food chemistry produced bunches of the artificial food for the babies. Not artificial, it's dry something you mix in. Because you see, you cannot breastfeed, so oh, how wonderful. The infants need to smell your breast and they need to consume these probiotics, consume the good bacteria that will start up the good intestinal tract. The good microbes, they do smell, you know. So, but the babies love it. But the doctors have to be very smart to come up with such. How many the generations were raised without any breast milk? Generation. Oh, now of course, so you don't need to breastfeed. What for? There is a formula. And formula getting better and better. They're getting more omega-3s and whatever. No, yeah, fish is good. Fish fat, omegas, it is in between animal and plant. But at the same time, nowadays we have discovered that there is a new stuff and will be discovered more stuff that is good in the butter. Butter is a source of C15, conjugated linoleic acid, and all other stuff that also help you to remove the toxins. You know, people lived without olive oil, just on butter for many years. The Inuits live on the seal meat and fish, so no, they don't bother looking for olive oil. But if you live in the south, you have to have more free radicals, because the main source for the free radicals, yes, it is the sun. The sun rays produce free radicals. And when you are in the sun, your cells will produce more mitochondria to remove free radicals. But, oh, it is so good for you, because there will be more mitochondria in your cells. These free radicals. Congratulations. There is the cholesterol. Oh, it is everywhere. It is the reason. Yeah. You cut your hand, blood goes. Oh, it is the reason. I don't know. Sometimes I think that maybe it's on purpose. Maybe it's on purpose, you know, to give you this simplified, illogical argument to make you buy and buy more, you know, fat-free, or now omega full fat, omega fat, or then you'll get something else. No, omega, of course, everything is good in moderation. Why? Because omega fats, if there are too many of them, they will increase permeability of hematoencephalitic barrier. The barriers that you're supposed to choose which substance can go through the brain and which substance cannot go to your nervous cells. So everything is in moderation. Everything has to be balanced, and everything has to depend on your individual level of activity, your age, your ethnicity, your cultural background, because the way you were raised, your enzymatic profile, Your genetics will dictate what is good for you. I open up a little secret. How the Olympic level athletes compete. That's where the genetic testing comes to the full front. Each of them is genetically tested to a T. Why? Because they look and decide which enzymatic profile they have, in how they can compensate those that they don't have and enhance those that they have, that they can run faster, swim longer, jump higher. No, hopefully it will come to the normal people, and we can go to the doctor and he'll give us the full explanation that we were born with such genetics, we have such enzymes in our body, and this food will readily absorb, and this food is not as good for you, so for your better potential you should be doing this and such and eat this and that. But so far so good. We can rely on our grandmothers. No, at least I can. But I don't know. It's in Soviet medical school there was a term, familial obesity. It means cultural obesity. It means if your grandma took you to the McDonald's every day and she ate in McDonald's every day, you will be addicted to the McDonald's for life, and you'll be happily ever after living in this vicious cycle. Anyhow, so I think I touched up on everything, and I want to end it with the thing that you have to know thyself, you have to know yourself. Why are we so bent on denying our own nature? I think it's a Western way of thinking. There is you and there is a shadow. Shadow is bad. You can control it and subdue it. Shadow is also you. You and shadow are one. So there has to be a thought in this duality. But in the West, it's like pure, impure. There is always combination. There is always, you have to have a trinity. There is a tree. There is external world, there is internal world. You're in the middle of this world. You are one who unites. So you are not that ideal person who behaves so well once upon a time, and you are not the demonic essence of yours as animal pre-representation. You are in between. And when it suits you, you run faster than a wind to go get away from the tiger. You use your beast in nature. And when you're saving someone, helping someone, you using your angel nature. But you are both of them. There is no separation. So you have to know yourself. You have to know who you are. And by the demands of our physical body, we are scavengers. Sounds really atrocious, doesn't it? But that's who we are. That's what we are. We are scavengers. So you can look at the other scavengers, what they eat. And if you look at the happy pig who can eat just acorns, think about it. What's is going to be with that pig after it happily eaten all the acorns it could find? It will become a bacon on your table. So Do you want to be a bacon on somebody's table? No, some of us maybe want to. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Okay, thank you for your attention. I wish you good luck. I wish you to turn on your brain and think for yourself. Lafos. Bye-bye.